Welcome to the Boomer Briefing Podcast, where we help you solve a critical business issue in 20 minutes or less. I'm your host, Jim Boomer, CEO at Boomer Consulting, and joining me today is Derek Olsen. Hi, Derek. Thank you so much for being on this episode.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, you bet. So Derek's a solution advisor at Boomer, and today we're going to get to know Derek a little bit better. So I'm going to dive right into my questions. So why don't we start off and you can tell the audience a little bit more about yourself, what you do at Boomer, how long you've been here, background, and how you became a part of the Boomer team.
Sure. Yeah, so Derek Olsen, Solutions Advisor again. I've been here 15 months, so just over a year. Background on how I got here. So I've known John Hubbard for, I think, 13 years. And as friends do, we often talked about work and what we like to do, how's it going, all that kind of stuff. And about a little over a year ago, I mentioned that I was maybe looking around for something new. And he knew what I had been doing, mostly sales and marketing. He knew what my interests were and where my talents were. And I think coincidentally, right around that time, there was an opening for a solutions advisor, and he encouraged me to apply. And the one thing that I'll mention that was kind of sealed the deal was John said to me, he's been there 12, 15 years, somewhere around there. And he said to me, I've never once thought about leaving. And I thought, wow, that says a lot if somebody's been somewhere for 12, 15 years, whatever it is, I can't remember. That says a lot. So that really got my interest, and I applied and made it through that process, and here we are.
Yeah. John's made it 15 years. You've made it 15 months. So we're glad you're here. Well, great background. And let's move outside of work. Tell us, who's Derek? What do you like to do? Family, hobbies, pets, anything like that?
So married for 14 years. We have 2 kids. So we have 2 girls, 7 and 10. And what do I like to do? Well, most of what I do outside of work revolves around our 2 girls. So we homeschool. So that when I say we, I mean my wife Carrie homeschools. Definitely all the credit is there. But that keeps us busy, the 2 girls. And then we live out in the country a little bit on an acre. We have, how many chickens do we have now? 8. We have 8 chickens, 3 rabbits. And so most of what my hobbies would be being a dad.
I know how that goes. Yes.
Yeah.
My kids are a little bit older at 13 and 15, but I remember those days where, what do you do on the weekends? Well, whatever the kids are doing this weekend, I'll be there. So exactly. To keep you busy. Well, what do you enjoy most about working at Boomer, both from a team perspective and clients?
Yeah. So from the internal, Boomer's a great place to work. All of my coworkers are really great we all really support each other. We help each other out. We pick up the pieces if somebody else needs help. We fill in all the time for each other. I would consider us friends as well, not just coworkers. And the Boomer culture is just excellent. There's so many little things that Boomer does that makes you feel like you're really being seen and cared for as a person, not just an employee. We all work remotely, so there's a lot that's done remotely to foster that kind of a environment. But also when we get together in person, the activities that we do, they're always fun. They're always new, and I really enjoy them. So from a internal perspective, that's just been really great. Clients are amazing too. There's there are some businesses or companies where the client is kind of like not the enemy, but they're you're going to try to get their work done and then kind of avoid them from then on. And that's not the case here at Boomer whatsoever. Our clients are great. They want to be here. They want to work with us. So that makes the engagement go really well. I feel really comfortable with our both on the Circle side and as well as on the sponsor side as well. They want to be here. They want to be working with us. They're getting great value out of it. So when you add all that up, it adds up to a very good client relationship that's just kind of effortless.
I think it's an interesting point. You know, we talk a lot about community, and often it's in regard to the circles and the peer groups. But really, what Boomer has become is that community, what you're talking about, of it's both ways. Like, we enjoy working with our clients, and almost always our clients enjoy working with us. But it really has built kind of a community feel, and that shows through in the culture we have as a team. So that is great. Well, let's talk about an achievement. What would you say is the one achievement that makes you most proud?
I would have to go back to my kids on that one. Um, I mentioned they're 7 and 10, so they're not little kids anymore. So we can kind of see some of the fruit of our labor as parents starting to come out. They're they're just great people. I love being around them. And so really when I think about an achievement, that would be number one. My wife and I talked about it recently that we're not raising kids, we're raising adults.
Hmm.
And we even just yesterday we talked about, and we're not even really doing that. We're also raising parents potentially in the future. So when we started making those connections, it really became very significant that we've brought these two people into the world, and they're going to have a life far beyond their childhood and even into adulthood and potentially parenthood. And that really made it very significant. So as far as biggest achievement, bringing people into the world and raising them is quite an achievement that I hope we're doing well.
Well, I think from all I've seen and all I've heard, I think you're doing quite well at it. But you're right, it's that is a big job, and especially when you step back and think about the bigger picture too, it really hones in on what a big job it is. Well,
Yeah.
that's a great one. What about an inspiration? Who's the biggest inspiration in either your personal life or your career?
Have to be my wife. Um, my wife's been we encourage each other constantly, and my wife is an entrepreneur herself. So as far as uh, actually business wise and work wise, we worked together. I actually worked for her for about 2 3 years. I worked for her business and helped her with her sales and marketing. We did that exclusively. That was our full-time income and our full-time business for about 3 years. She now runs the business on her own. I stepped back to pursue other things. But so she's been incredibly, supportive and inspiring. Whenever I see her running her own business and the way she does it so well, and she interjects her values and her personality into her business. We talk a lot about work and business since she is a business owner. Um, so I would definitely have to give credit to my wife there.
All right. Well, when this episode drops, you'll have to send her the link. You'll get some brownie points definitely there. So, uh, what about travel? What's your favorite place you've ever visited?
I've been to quite a few places. When I was growing up, my family traveled a lot. We always went to um, outdoors, nature, kind of, Yellowstone, Yosemite, stuff like that. Big Bend in Texas comes to mind. But if I had to narrow it down to one, we did a 5 day float trip down the whichever river is in the Grand Canyon. Um, Colorado River or the
I
I'm
think it's
not
Colorado. Yeah.
okay. So we did 5 days.
You're testing my geography skills.
Yeah. It was a guided tour, and on this giant inflatable boat, there was 20 people, I believe, and they brought all the gear, all the food, and then we would camp and sleep on the riverbanks at night. They were kind of sandy riverbanks that we would, and so 5 days completely isolated with no electronics, no cell phone, no TV, no nothing. Um, I don't. I think a lot of people probably have never gone 5 days completely unplugged, and it was amazing to be completely unplugged for that long in the middle of nowhere. Um, and I remember when we were coming into whichever lake, Lake Powell or the other one that it kind of the river kind of goes into, and we heard this noise, this what is that? And it turned out to be a jet ski, somebody going up on a jet ski, and we were all like, we felt like cavemen looking at this jet ski, like, what is this? What is this thing? Because we had been isolated for so long. So that was a really incredible experience. Highly recommended.
Yeah, my wife Mary, she took that trip with her cousins. Now this was years ago.
Really?
This was pre-kids, but I know she loved it too, and it was just being out there disconnected. But I think back then we as a society were connected, but not quite what we are today.
Right.
But yeah, it's she raves about that trip still today. So
Yeah, it was
um,
amazing.
what's a place that you would love to visit but you haven't yet? What's on your bucket list? What's at the top?
I thought about there's no place that I just absolutely, but to give an answer, well, two answers real quick. So my daughter, my 10-year-old, for I'm not sure why, but for some reason, she's got it in her head that she wants to go to the Smoky Mountains. I don't know why. She probably saw it in a book somewhere, but she says, I want to go to the Smoky Mountains. So we've kind of tucked that away as a possibility in the future. And then my wife and I have talked about we had our 10-year anniversary right during COVID. So we had plans to go to New Orleans, and those plans were gone because our 10-year was in 2020. Yeah, 2020. So that was right in the middle of COVID. So we've wanted to take a trip to New Orleans. I've been there a few times, and because Carrie and I, my wife, we both love two things. We love music and we love food, and New Orleans has both of it.
Yeah,
So it would just be great to go see some jazz and eat some amazing brunch or some maybe something exotic that they have down in New Orleans. So maybe that'll happen.
I'm sure it will. I'm sure it will. It's a crazy place, but it's a fun place to visit. So um, you mentioned food. You love food. What's your favorite food? What's your favorite drink?
My favorite food is tacos.
Yeah.
I could eat tacos every day. I have maybe had tacos for lunch and dinner multiple times. So tacos for sure. But then drink. Now there's an interesting answer. My favorite drink is probably coffee. However, I can't drink coffee anymore. A couple of years ago, I noticed if I had coffee afternoon, I would stay up until like 1 in the morning. And then it was after 11, and then it was after 10, and then it was if I had coffee at 7 a.m., I would stay up all night. This was a few years ago. This started happening, and so I love good cup of coffee, but I cannot have it anymore because it will and I've tried decaf. I don't like it. It tastes weird. So don't suggest decaf. But so my favorite drink I can no longer have, which is very sad, but it's still my favorite drink.
Yes. Yes. You can hold on to the memories, right?
Yeah.
You can smell the coffee.
Yes, which I do because we've got a can out. My wife still drinks coffee, and we just got a fresh bag of beans. And man, I went over and smelled it. So I'll just have to smell it from now on.
Yeah. It's interesting how much caffeine affects some people and others not as much.
Yeah.
It's not as big of a effect on me, but certainly my wife, it has a big impact. So.
It didn't used to. I used to be able to drink even if in the afternoon. I used to drink coffee in the afternoon, go to bed at 10 or 11. Not anymore.
Yeah. What's your favorite place to shop? I know you're just an avid shopper, and all your free time you duck off and shop.
Right. Sure. Yeah. So, favorite place to shop is Aldi.
Aldi. All right.
'Cause I don't shop for clothes. I'm not a shopper. So
You're
the
a
answer
buyer.
is yeah, right. Yeah. I'm a necessities only shopper. So Aldi is the place for us because it's easy, it's simple, it's super cheap. They've got everything we need. Um, for some reason, our girls love going to all. They think it's this amazing place. They think it's fun, and there's certain items there that you can only get there that they like. So Aldi, if you haven't tried Aldi, give it a shot. It's not fancy. It's very basic, but Aldi is my favorite place to shop.
It's got Derek's stamp of approval on it. All right. Rapid round of this or that.
All right.
Okay, mountains or the beach?
Oh gosh, I'd have to say mountains.
Okay. Beer or bourbon?
Beer.
Winter or summer?
Used to be winter. It's now summer. Now that I'm getting older, I think, oh man, I loved winter, but now it's like I can't stand the cold anymore.
And your coffee's gone, so you can't get
Yeah.
a warm cup of coffee to warm up.
Right.
All right, last one, texting or calling?
Texting.
Texting, you're a texter. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Derek. And for our listeners, if you enjoyed this conversation, we release new episodes every Tuesday morning. We got to know Derek a little better today, but we also covered topics related to talent, leadership, process, technology, and growth. What all our topics have in common is that they are crucial to your firm's success and helping you solve a critical business issue in 20 minutes or less. So if you like what you heard, please subscribe, and thank you so much for listening. Thanks, Derek.
Thank you.